Chris Whalen is the Managing Director and Institutional Risk Analytics. He joins us now by phone. So Chris, investors shouldn't worry. Basel's irrelevant, and yet banks are taking this weekend rather seriously. What is it that they're maybe not getting that you are?
Well, the people in banks who work on Basel II have to justify their existence, as do the regulators. But, you know, look, Basel affects bank business model choices, and it affects asset allocation. It has tended to push banks towards securities and away from loans. But there are many other factors that affect this, the accounting rules, and more important than any of them is what's going on in banks today. When banks are not profitable and when they're facing uncertainty, they shrink. And that's why you have a diminution of credit availability right now.
Well, you don't think, though, getting through what might come out of Basel this weekend will help provide some clarity for the banks?
Oh, no. Basel has never been a source of clarity. Basel is a source of cost and distraction for management, and they synthesize the responses for the regulators, but they don't use that data to run their business. They have another set of books. It's kind of like the Edgar filings of a public bank versus their managed books, which is usually what they refer to when they're talking to analysts, right?
Right.
So, you know, the regulatory world is kind of a surreal place because it doesn't intersect with the way that the bank manages its business. The Fed is a very top-down organization run by economists, remember?
Right. Well, let me ask you, Chris, that what's going to ultimately give those banks more clarity? We said once reg reform got through, that would help. Well, maybe not so much. Then we said once the regulators interpret reg reform, that might help. Once we get through Basel, what's going to make banks feel more confident and kind of open up in terms of lending and opening up more capital flows, if you will?
Well, when they stop losing money. The key problem facing banks today is that charge-offs on loans are still high, even though we've come off the peak. And they're also facing other types of expenses, servicing in terms of foreclosures, right? Loan repurchase demands by Fannie and Freddie and by insurers. So banks are still dealing with very abnormal circumstance in terms of their operating expenses.
Okay.
And I think we could see more volatility there down the road. So that's why they're being cautious. You know, what I tell my clients is for every $2 that a bank is either charging off or seeing repaid, they're making $1 in new loans. So they're actually shrinking rather dramatically.
Sounds like we're going to have to be somewhat patient to see things loosen up.
Yeah, the regulations are a medium-term issue in my view. What's happening inside the banks today is the key issue for investors.
Okay, we got to run. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for weighing in on this morning.